Hi. Okay, I just would like to do a short video on why I'm alone all the time. So, yeah, I raised my son. My son's 20 years old. He graduated high school last year. I held him back when my ex and I split up. I kept my son, and she went off and had started another family with someone else, but my son would still go over there on weekends, but I'm the one that raised him and went to the parent teacher conferences and paid for everything and all that stuff. But anyway, so like when that happened, it was somewhat rough on my son, and he was I was in special ed when I was a kid, and no one ever knew why I was in special ed. And they would do all these tests. They're like, "Oh, we don't know why she's in special ed, but we know she belongs in special ed." That was really different. I would like draw flowers and peace signs all over my body, and wear Iron Maiden shirts and AC/DC shirts, and would smoke cigarettes and come to school drunk and things like that. And they knew there was something wrong with me. But they would do tests, and I just would score really low in math and reading comprehension and stuff. But I scored really high in other areas, even genius in one or two areas and things like that. So I was like just kind of out of balance, and they never really found a learning disability, but they kept me in special ed anyway. And so when I got out of high school, I started reading, and the first few books took a long time. Like one of the first books I read, I worked in a shoe store, and I was like the second best shoe salesperson in the whole country. So it's just a really good shoe salesperson, and I was studying the book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And oh my gosh, that took me like a year and a half to read. I'd like read a paragraph, and then I'd read the second paragraph, and I'd say, "Do you remember what the previous paragraph was about?" And I'd go, "Oh crap, no." So then I'd read a paragraph, then I'd rewrite the paragraph in my own words, and then I'd read the second paragraph, and then I'd look at the notes on what the previous paragraph meant, and it would take me like a month to read like 4 pages, and then and it just like the first two or three books took me just like so long to read, and it was so hard. And that was after I graduated high school. I just was such a con artist that I graduated high school, and I could make them think I could read. I would just like, man, 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 I'd say the words, but I'd have no idea what I just said or what any of it meant. Like nothing. There'd be no trace of any retention at all. And so, but about after the fifth and sixth book, I started being able to retain things. And then, after a while, I got so I can read. And now people that know me consider me smart. It's because I've spent so much of my life reading. Once I learned how to read, it's all I did. I just stopped watching TV and I would just read. I didn't even watch TV for a whole bunch of my life. I would just read and read and read and read and read, and just accumulate knowledge. And I'm still really addicted to knowledge. I just always like to learn things. Once I learned how to learn things, it's like all I want to do now is just learn things, especially reading. I like reading. I can learn things. But anyway, so see, I learned that like I probably wouldn't have had to be in special ed. Like if I could do it, if I could go back in time and be my own parent, I would say, "Here, Angie, here's a book. Let's go to the bookstore and pick a book. Which book do you want?" And then I'd say, "No, let's read the second page together," and I'd read with me, And then, "Okay, that's good. Yeah. What do you think of that? What did that mean?" And I'd help myself through it, and then until I started reading better. And every time I'd read a book, I'd buy me a new book, and everything. So when my son was in third grade, when this was happening, he fell way behind, and then I would read with him, and I noticed that he just reminded me. I could see that he had inherited it. So I was like, "Oh, how can I do this?" So I'd help him read, and like till this day, like book fairs. Like if you have a kid, the books they have for kids nowadays kick ass so bad. They have the coolest books. Kids are so freaking lucky. I don't know what books were like when I was a kid, but the books kids have now kick ass. They're so good. There is no shortage of awesome ass books for kids nowadays. And we would go to the bookstore, my son and I would just love it. And I'd buy him books, and I always made sure my son had books, and he could read. He would read to me. I'd say now, I'd have him read to me. He read all the Chronicles of Narnia to me. He just read, he's read a lot, and I just made sure he knew how to read. But he was behind, so I held him back a year. It was one of the smartest things I ever did. Just make sure he knew how to read, and then I held him back a year. And he had no problem. I was right. No learning disability, no problem. He's just like, if he's got a problem, it's because he's being lazy. It's not because there's anything wrong, So my son graduated high school when he was 19 instead of 18. So he's 20 now, but he's actually been out of high school only 1 year instead of 2 years. So all those years being a single parent, and it's only the last 6 years since I've been living life as a female. And so that's, that was like through high school. Through high school, I was a female parent, and then and all through junior high, and for some of junior high, I was a female too. At the very end is when it happened, I think. So like all through elementary school, and then in the very first part of junior high, I was his dad. I was a boy, and then. So like all that time being a guy, like I probably went on like I had a girlfriend for 2 weeks once, and like it was just like I went on to like 3 dates in like 15 years or whatever, and it's like I was always alone, I would just pretend like I'm training for boxing, and that's all I did, my friends was just the movies I'd watch and just pretending I'm a boxer, and that's like all I had through most of raising my son. So so now I'm like really old, and I still don't have anything going for me, and now I'm a trans woman. But the thing is I love myself now. So now if I actually find a boyfriend, and I'm not bisexual anymore. That's another story. But I'm not attracted to girls anymore. It won't be a girlfriend. I'm not pansexual or even demisexual. I'm heterosexual. I like men. And I do want a boyfriend. And then there's lots of guys that like me. And the reason they like me is I wasn't likable before because I didn't like myself. I didn't love myself. I've learned how to love myself, and that makes me attractive. So there are guys that like me often. But generally they just want me for sex. At least I can't get it past that. So what I'm not having sex with them. You have to qualify to have sex with me finally, for the most part, I think. But because I'm trying to, I don't want the breadcrumbs. I want the meal, and but at the same time, guys are scared of you if they think they're looking for a boyfriend. So I try not to put that out there too much either or anything. And I'm not desperate because I love being alone. Like I don't, like I said, there's guys that I could be having sex with a different guy. Like for a while I was having sex with 2 or 3 different guys a week, for just a chunk of time, until I realized that this isn't what I want. I could just do that. I could just, every time I get horny, just go find a guy and have sex with them. And then women love me. I make friends with women all the time, as friends. They could be my friend. But I don't have a boyfriend, and I don't really have any close female friends because as I learn to love myself, I'm selective. I'm looking for the right boyfriend, and I'm looking for, the right girlfriends, I need someone that the gender thing's not an issue. You need to use female pronouns and make me feel like you love and respect me and want the best for me. If you're a female and I think that you secretly think I'm a guy and you want to convert me, or even if you might like me, that's like yuck. Ugh, I don't like girls that are sexually attracted to me, unless they make me feel like a woman in the process. But if they make me feel like they think I'm really a man, and that's what they're attracted to, that's like, no, get out of my way. Damn. So I'm alone all the time, but it's really not because I can't make friends, So that's why like my siblings, they can be so mean. My family members can be so mean. They say no one likes you, because they're superficial, you know. So like, you're always alone all the time. If nobody likes you, that proves that I'm right about you, that you're a piece of shit, But I could have people around me. It's just that I'm trying to find the right people to be around me, And another thing is some people are the right thing. I've spent so much time alone that in a way I'm like crazy, Like if you look it up, being alone too much make you die sooner and you kind of go crazy a little bit. And I kind of have gone crazy a little bit, because I've spent unusual amounts of time alone. I've been alone for many, many, many years, like every day, all the time, alone. I go alone here, I go alone there. I do this alone, I do that alone, all alone, 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 all the time. It's a hard life, but it does, the main point I'm trying to make here is that it doesn't mean that I don't like being alone. You'd be surprised how much it doesn't bother me and how much I actually like being. That's why I can be selective, because I'm like, oh look, I want a friend, I want a boyfriend, but not that bad. If you can convince me you're worth my time, I'll let you be a part of my life. But if not, then I'll just be happy to live the rest of my life alone. I like being alone. It's fun. I'm great company. I think I'm funny to myself. I like myself, but it doesn't mean that it's my preference. It just means that I'm happy to just be just that, So I'm saying this because I think that some people won't be able to learn from me. They might know me. They're not going to be able to learn anything on my YouTube channel. I'm like, I would recommend that you do learn. Like, the truth is I'm awesome and I'm smart. And my YouTube channel kicks ass, like more than you're going to think that it does, The things I'm teaching you here kick ass so bad. They're so freaking awesome. I know some cool ass shit that some of you are going to benefit from if you would just trust me, And I'm not going to pass your cool tests, I'm just not cool, But hopefully you can learn from someone that's not one of the cool kids. Hopefully you can go sit by the nerd at lunchtime,